Shalom YouTube, you're listening to The Financially Savvy Chick. In today's video, I want to talk to you about 3 ways you can avoid having to use the digital dollar when it takes effect. There's an excellent chance governments worldwide will soon force their citizens to use central bank digital currencies. You've probably been hearing about this for some time. You should have been anyway, unless you're sleeping under a rock, which I don't think any of my subscribers are, because you guys are financially fit. You're making good choices every day, or better financial choices anyway. But CBDCs, okay, abbreviated, enable all sorts of horrible totalitarian things. They allow governments to track and control every penny you earn, save, and spend. It's a powerful tool for politicians to confiscate and redistribute wealth as they see fit. We know they do this. Obamacare is a perfect example. CBDCs will make it possible for central banks to impose deeply negative interest rates, which is really just a euphemism for a tax on saving money. Governments could program CBDCs to have an expiration date, like airline frequent myers, or food stamps. You get them on the 1st of the month or the 15th of the month. And then, I don't think food stamps actually expire, but, okay, I don't know. I'm not going to even speak on that. If you receive food stamps or somebody that does, do they ever expire at the end of the month if they don't use it by then? But the point I'm trying to make is that the CBDCs could have an expiration date on it, meaning if you don't, you could be forced to spend them before the end of the month, or they'll become worthless. CBDCs are also going to enable devious social engineering practices, which would allow governments to punish and reward people in ways they previously couldn't. Suppose government want to impose lockdowns again for another pandemic that comes out, or is related to climate change, or whatever pretext they find convenient for them. CBDCs could be programmed to only work in a geographical area. So, for example, your payment could be denied if you travel more than a mile from your home during a lockdown. Suppose people in charge want to encourage people to take a pharmaceutical product. With CBDCs, they could easily deposit the money into accounts of those who complied and deduct it from those who didn't. As we saw, those who took the jabs, some of them got to keep their jobs, and then those who didn't take the jab, a lot of them lost their jobs, Undoubtedly, CBDCs will be paired with a sort of social credit system, which is already in place in China today. In the West, it's likely to become a different flavor. Perhaps CBDCs will be paired with an ESG score. Biden recently passed a law where 401k managers can take your hard-earned retirement money that you've worked your butt off for and invest it in an ESG account, which is not even based on merit. Like, it's not set up. The whole primary purpose of that account is not even set up to get you the highest return. It's just based off of how you behave. Are you a fossil fuel supporter? Do you drive an electric car? Are you a carbon foot? Are you experiencing too much carbon footprint around the globe? Meaning, are you traveling too much? Why'd you go to Chicago that week? You need to stay home. You're traveling too much. It's ridiculous. CBDCs are without a doubt an instrument of enslavement. They represent a quantum leap backward in human freedom. Unfortunately, they're coming soon, and governments will mandate CBDCs as a solution when the real next crisis hit, which is not far off. That's the bad news. The good news is that CBDCs are destined to fail. Despite all the hype, I get tongue-tied sometimes with some of my words because I guess I'm speaking so fast. But despite all the hype, CBDCs are nothing but the same fiat currency scam on steroids. It's doubtful that CBDCs can save otherwise fundamentally unsound currencies. Okay, if the current fiat system is not viable, then CBDCs are even less viable, as they enable government to engage in even more currency debasement. A CBDC couldn't save Zimbabwe dollar or the Venezuelan bolivar or the Argentina peso or the Lebanese lira. I don't think that the CBDC is going to save the US dollar or the euro either. And it doesn't mean that the government won't try implementing it. It's immensely destructive for many people. It's going to be destructive for many people. Okay. While I believe CBDCs will inevitably self-destruct, nobody knows how long it's going to take for that to happen. Communism was also destined to self-destruct, but it took generations. I don't know that we have that long. So, what will you do when government forces everyone to use CBDCs? Okay, I believe it's incumbent on free individuals to reject CBDCs. It will be challenging, but the war is maintaining your sovereignty. That is what's going to be priceless. So I'm going to go ahead and list the 3 steps that you could take to avoid using CBDCs. Anyone who wants to avoid CBDC enslavement must learn to swim in those waters. Okay, number 1, use physical Number 1, use physical gold and silver. Avoiding CBDCs means using alternative forms of money. Although people use money every day, few consider what it actually is or what it makes for what is actually good money. Money is a good, just like any other economy. It's not complex to grasp that understanding. Understanding money is intuitive and straightforward. Money is simply something useful for storing and exchanging value. That's it. Think of money as a claim on human time. It's like stored life or energy. Unfortunately, today most of humanity thoughtlessly accepts whatever their government gives them as money. However, money does not need to come from government. It's a total misnomer that the average person has been hoodwinked into believing. It will be similar to transporting yourself back in time and asking the average person in the Soviet Union where their shoes come from. It's funny, but it's not funny. The truth is, money doesn't need to come from the government any more than shoes do. People have used stones, glass beads, salt, cattle, seashells, gold, silver, and other commodities as money at different times. Now, however, over 6,000 years, silver and gold has been mankind's most enduring form of money. Silver and gold didn't become money by accident or because politicians greed it. It became money because countless individuals throughout history and across many different civilizations subjectively came to the same conclusion: silver and gold is money. It resulted from a market process of people looking for the best way to store and exchange value. So, why did they go to silver? What makes silver attractive as money? Silver has a set of unique characteristics that make it suitable as money. Alright? It's durable, visible, consistent, convenient, scarce, and most importantly, the hardest of all physical commodities. In other words, silver and gold is hard to produce relative to existing stockpiles and is one physical commodity more resistant to inflation of its supply. That's why silver and gold has its monetary properties. Anyone can opt out of CBDCs by using physical gold and silver to store and exchange value. Your second option is to get organized locally. Get to know the people in your community. If you avoid CBDCs, many of the conveniences of society are going to become unavailable to you. You probably have to shop at a Walmart and large stores of any kind. You won't be able to shop at Walmart or large stores because they're going to be roped into the CBDC system. You'll have to become self-sufficient and rely on your local community to obtain what you need. And that starts with knowing who can provide you with the things you want and need. Everybody always mention the Amish as a perfect example. The third thing that you can do is to become a prepper. To minimize the inconvenience of barter, it's ideal to become as self-sufficient in as many areas as possible, which includes stockpiling supplies and gaining survival knowledge and skills. If you already have what you need, or you can produce it yourself, that reduces your need to get it from others. So, unfortunately, CBDCs and all the terrible things that go along with them are coming soon. And so the economic trajectory is troubling. Unfortunately, there's little any individual can practically do to change the course of these trends in motion. The best you can and should do is to stay informed so that you can protect yourself in the best way possible and even profit from the situation. As always, keep Yahweh first, pay down your debt, stay out of debt. Don't forget to visit our website, thefinanciallysavvychick.com. Check out our blog section. Please hit the thumbs up on this video. It helps the YouTube algorithm. And please share this video. Hopefully this information can help someone else who is contemplating or struggling with the idea or the illusion of having to deal with the CBDC. You don't have to accept it. A lot of people say, well, how are you going to buy food? What about water? What if you need to go to the hospital? Again, while you're able and can right now, this is the time you want to take to be getting prepared. You shouldn't have to rely on the government, because this is what they're going to want. Some people are going to willingly walk into FEMA camps to be fed, or to seek shelter. And that's the last resort you want to take. Until next time, shalom.